Hi, my name is Kate Kirkwood. I'm an expert on lead poisoning and lead in buildings, and I have written a couple of books on the topic. I also have just completed a TEDx talk on the topic and been interviewed by NPR, that sort of thing. I also have a master's degree in business. So this particular video is to do with the business aspects of lead and how it affects investors, bankers, folks who are dealing with properties in New Hampshire. And also with this new law. There's a new law that was passed, Senate Bill 247. This is 2018. It was passed earlier this year. And it's going to affect what happens to properties, the values of them, and how lead is handled in New Hampshire over the next couple of years. So this little video, I have other videos out for parents, for landlords, that sort of thing. This one has to do with the business aspects and is for my colleagues who are investors, bankers, realtors who are concerned about these issues. I have three key points I want to cover here in the next few minutes. One is who can remove lead in properties, and under what circumstances does that change? What does it mean when a property is put under order by the state of New Hampshire? Who has to react to that and why, and what does that cost? What is involved in that? And then number three, what's upcoming in SB 247? It's a phased-in law. So what has changed this year and what is upcoming that's going to change the values and affect the values of properties in the next few years? All right, so if this audience is you, grab a cup of coffee. I'll be as brief as I can. Number one, who can address lead in a building? If the building is not under order, anybody can. In other words, if the state has not put an order to abate on the unit, and you would know that the property would be attached to the deed, there'd be a certified package that was delivered to the owner. It's not like this is a hidden idea, right? They will let you know if it's under order, and it would only be placed under order if a child was poisoned in the unit already. They already had an issue before. So assuming that has not happened, then anybody can address the lead. As far as the state is concerned, it's general renovation, whether you're removing lead or you're not. So there's a door that's painted with lead. If you change it out because it's old and it's, doesn't seal well anymore, it doesn't meet fire codes, whatever your reasons are, then that's considered renovation. Take that same door out because it's lead, that's considered, lead abatement. So we just don't use the A word, we're doing renovation. And in the process of renovation, we might get rid of a lot of old leaded windows, doors, trim, whatever. But we do it because they're old, we don't do it because they're lead, if that makes sense. Intent is very important here. So any renovator, any contractor, maintenance person, owner, anybody can do this. You can go into a property, identify where the lead is, and remove it. However, there is a federal law that affects this. EPA has passed a law called RRP, Renovate, Repair, and Paint, which says if you are renovating any building, if you're disturbing paint in any building, any house built before 1978, you must have their certification. That's an easy one. It's a one-day class, 8-hour class, costs $200. Anybody can take it. You get certified on your way out the door. All right, there's a test in the classroom and then you're done. So that certification is readily available. My company offers it. A lot of companies offer it. You can go to a website, our website, the URL should be on the bottom of their screen right now. It's leadedu.info. Click on register for classes, get signed up for one of those. There's also plenty of other trainers. If my schedule doesn't work for you or whatever, give me a call, shoot me an email. My contact information's at the end of the video. There's plenty of opportunity for you to get these people certified, and it's quick and easy. So do that, because the fines for not doing it are as high as $37,500 per violation. Okay, so don't mess with that. Once those people are certified and in class, they will learn how to test themselves to find out if there's lead. So there's a little tool you can buy, costs $3 or $4, and you can test it yourself. If you don't want to do that, or if you feel like it's too tedious or too difficult or whatever, you can also hire a lead inspector. Even though you have no knowledge of lead, you have no problem with lead, you can hire a lead inspector and get, please ignore my cats. I just want to get this information out, so I'm not going to a studio today. I'm just doing this at home. Anyway, you can get this information From a lead inspector, they'll come in with an x-ray gun, they'll shoot all the painted surfaces in the house, they'll give you a full report. Cost might be a few $100s, depends on who you call, $300-400 per unit. And as long as you pay them privately and you're not under order, that report doesn't go anywhere. It's not a public, they don't have to make it public record. It's simply information that you paid them to give you, the same way you might hire somebody, an electrician, to come in and evaluate your electrical work in the building or whatever. So that's an option. You can have a lead inspector come in just for information, give you a lead report, or you can have any, what they call renovator, any general contractor, any maintenance person, anybody come in and test this stuff and tell you where the lead is. And then you can remove it as part of general renovation. So that's the easy way. The problem, the difficulty, is if you get into that other category where you are put under order. And the way you get put under order is a child that lives in the unit, has to be a child under 6, goes to the doctor, gets a blood test. And that blood test comes back at a certain level. Now, right now in the state of New Hampshire, the level is 10. So if a kid has more than 10 micrograms per deciliter lead in their blood, then they will end up, you will end up under order. All right. If they have a level between 5 and 10, you'll get a notification from the state saying, heads up, you got a kid with a high level here. That should be considered a huge warning. And anybody who gets one of those should immediately start on your own, the way I just described, actively reducing hazards. If nothing else, just cover up any chipping, peeling, flaking paint. Cover it up with latex. That's fine. So make sure that you address any letters that come in from the state. There's a great tendency to say, oh, this is not my problem. They say they're not taking any action, so whew, dodge that bullet. When the truth is, it's a huge warning. If a kid has got a 5 and you don't change anything, chances are good they're going to get up over 10. And then everything changes. Once you're under order, you can now only hire abatement contractors. Lead abatement contractors charge a lot more money. They have had to take a 4-day class. Their insurance has gone up. Their liability goes up dramatically. The state is watching them. The state is now, Department of Health and Human Services is now sending inspectors in all the time, and fining them if they do anything wrong. So the rates go up. And in fact, we have a big shortage of lead abatement contractors in the state right now. You'd be hard pressed to even find one. And if you did, they'd be very likely to be booked out several months. So then you're stuck with, if you're under order, getting your own maintenance folks or contractors or renovators certified for abatement in order to, to get that work done. You have to use an abatement contractor. The other process is there is a grant program. If you do find yourself in that situation where your property is under order, New Hampshire Housing has a grant program that's good all over the state. Also, the city of Nashua and the city of Manchester have their own programs specific to those cities. You can get up to $13,000 a unit from those grant programs, and they are grants. You never have to pay them back. There's some paperwork to be done. Contact me. I can give you information about that. I also, as a consultant, I work with those grant programs, so I can give you the intake applications and all the details on that. But, you can get this money to help. What's the cost looking like? Like I said, an initial inspection might be a few hundred, $300-400 per unit. But once you're under order, now that lead inspector, that risk assessor, has to come back and check periodically throughout the process to see, if it was done correctly, and has to come back and clear it at the end. And because of the state regulations on this, they have to do all kinds of lab work, dust wipes, soil samples, that sort of thing, which you wouldn't normally do as part of a regular traditional lead inspection, but now they have to do it. Of course, you're going to be charged for all of that. So what would have cost you $300 or $400, preliminary lead inspection, now once you're under order is probably $1,500 per unit, roughly. HUD says on average you'll spend $10,000 a unit abating, and that does not include the outside. So a 3-family could easily cost $50,000 to abate, whereas you might have done that in general renovation for 10. So look carefully at getting ahead of this and making sure as an investor that your property doesn't go under order. Now here's why things are changing. You might say, well, I've owned these old properties for decades. I haven't gotten under order yet. Why would they catch me now? Because they just changed the law. Remember, the way in which a property got put under order is a child had to get poisoned in that unit, right? So if you've never had children poisoned in the unit, it's probably because nobody ever tested them. We're just terrible in New Hampshire about testing our kids. We're worse than any state in New England. The other states all test between 75, 80%, some as high as 83, 85% of their kids. Here in New Hampshire, we test 15%. That's 15% of our kids. Last year we got up to 16. Everybody was excited. But we do not do a good job of testing our kids. But Senate Bill 247, which took effect a couple of months ago, has now made it mandatory for pediatricians at the 1-year and the 2-year checkup to test every child. So with 16% of our kids tested, we have about 120 properties currently under order in the state of New Hampshire. When we test 100%, which, okay, say we get to 80%, thousands of properties will suddenly be put under order that were not before. So that's huge. The second piece of this is the level. Remember I said a kid has to have a 10 or higher to be put under order? That level is dropping. CDC has recommended 5 as the level of concern, not 10. New Hampshire has decided to phase in reducing our level to 5. So in July of 2019, our level is going to drop to 7.5. And in July of 2021, it's going to drop to 5, which means all the kids from 5 to 10, thousands of them, which are currently identified, are now going to be put under order and considered poisoned. Those properties will be put under order. And multiply that by the fact that now we're going to test all the kids, and thousands of properties are going under order in the next couple of years in New Hampshire. Now, the silver lining to that is it means that properties are going to be available cheap. So honestly, investors with cash who are not afraid of lead, who have lead abatement contractors on their team, are going to be able to do very well in New Hampshire in the next couple of years. Property owners who have old buildings who are not well maintained are going to do very poorly because they're all, as kids get tested, they're going to get put under order. And that gets to be very expensive. So I hope this was useful information. I want to reiterate the training. Obviously, my company offers all the training, abatement as well as RRP, but I can certainly direct you to others. And we also are a conduit to the grant money if that's helpful to you. Happy to talk if you have any further questions. Please reach out to me. My contact information will be on the next screen. Have a great day.